All right, folks, welcome back once again to Inside Analysis. We're going to jump from Human X all the way back home in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I'm dialing in to a lovely lady from England, Imogen Wethered. She has a company called EnableAll, and it's funny, we've been talking all about AI helping doing tasks for people, but now we're going to talk about people using technology to assist others who have disabilities. So, as some of you may know, my wife has MS, and it's very frustrating reality for her. Of course, not being able to walk stinks, but then also just the tremor and trying to use websites is a real pain. And most people don't notice this because they're not disabled. But just the way websites are designed with small little buttons that you constantly have to move your mouse around to click and find, it's really difficult. And when things flash at you and you get pop-ups, well, if you have a
Mm.
disability and a pop-up gets in your screen, that's probably the end of your experience. 'Cause you're going to have a hard time getting rid of that pop-up and getting back to what you were doing. And I'm very pleased to be talking now to Imogen, again, whether of Enable All, because you're working on that very challenge, right, Imogen?
Yes, thank you, Eric. Thank you for giving some helpful context into the challenges that people are experiencing every day. So I liken it to just for any customer, if you're shopping in a store and you can't access the product you want, or you want to speak to someone and you can't find it, it's a really frustrating experience that leads you to walk out the store. Maybe something's locked behind a protection shield or something. But imagine having that every day and even online where that can just be really challenging. So what we're doing at Enable All is, on the face of it, if you were to go onto one of our clients' websites, you would see a little icon of an accessibility man in the corner. And if a customer clicks that, they can open some tools that enable them to customize what the website looks like for them. So that could be anything from, for someone with kind of a motor impairment, you can have the ability to click on hover. So if you hold the mouse over a button for a certain amount of seconds, it will automatically click the button for you. It also can enlarge the buttons, can enlarge text, and you can also have customers with different neurodivergence or disability be able to customize. For example, they can simplify text. They can have text read out loud to them. They can translate text even into sign language. So all these
Hmm.
different tools. And then in the back end, what we're doing is we're fixing elements of the code to make it work better for assistive tech users. So to put that in perspective, that's 7% of customers can't use a mouse. And they often get stuck in something like a navigation menu where they have to click through every single thing in the nav menu before they can get to the product. And that could happen repeatedly on every single page of the site. So we help them jump past so they can get to the products quicker. And we also help ensure that the code and elements of the site are optimized for a screen reader. So 3% of people rely on screen readers because of visual impairments to be able to understand and navigate a site. So what we do is we add labels to buttons and links and form fields that help them to choose products, select them, and even get through to checkout.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you also focus on the metadata. So a lot of companies don't realize that for screen readers, the images need to have proper metadata. This is a chair, this is a table instead of image one, image two, right? So you're helping them with that. Is there an LLM involved here? Are you actually auto tagging stuff, or how does that actually happen?
Yeah, so we have our own proprietary in-house built AI that is e-commerce optimized. We focus primarily just on e-commerce because the AI kind of understands e-commerce products and context, and it uses that to give hyper relevant descriptions to images. And yeah, again, just kind of giving that an in-store analogy, it would might be if you're a customer in a store that is unable to see and you ask someone what the product they're holding up shows, they might just say the word scarf, scarf repeatedly. Instead, for example, we're giving it a better description that enables the customer to understand that it's a floral scarf with pink and purple patterns, for example.
That's very cool. So you're basically enabling people with disabilities to have a much better experience on the web, and you're doing this through Shopify primarily. Is that correct?
Yes, to start with, we've really kind of refined our Shopify integration, but we'll be building that out soon. We can also actually do kind of headless CMS and custom sites.
Really? That's interesting because I've been doing this web stuff now for about a quarter of a century, ever since it came out. And I remember back in the late 1990s, realizing that if I want to do web development, I really need to focus on learning Java, JavaScript, and learning these different technologies. And it would be a pretty heavy lift. And it's not the kind of stuff I really want to do, to be honest. I'm not a
Hmm.
programmer. I know how to program. But I even recall back then that website design is very complex. And it's complex because the screen size is different. Sometimes it's a mobile phone, sometimes it's a big screen. And really navigating that from a functionality perspective is not an easy thing to do. And it's especially difficult if you have disabilities. So there were
Hmm.
various things over the years, like readers on your phone where you could just click a button and then get all the text and just get rid of all the ads and get rid of all the layout and the functionality that's defined by the DOM, right? For those who know website terminology. But what you're doing is finally finding a way to simplify that for end users who just want to get the information. They just want to get to the things that they want, right?
Yes, exactly. And we're really excited by some of the features we're working on them at the moment that will even summarize the whole page with an AI and offer kind of dictionary definitions for words. So very exciting and very, very helpful for customers. But I think when it comes to the building of the site, this is where it's really difficult because a lot of businesses and a lot of even web developers don't even know about the full extent of the web content accessibility guidelines or WCAG guidelines, where there's more than 80 different guidelines that explain what you should have on a website to make it fully accessible. And that's actually what the law is requiring companies to follow with these accessibility laws like the ADA in the US and the EAA in Europe. And globally, there's different kind of iterations of the law that all mandate following the WCAG guidelines. And these guidelines are excessively complicated, and
Hmm.
even and it's a massive load of work to make your site comply with them, but also in order to consistently align them. And it's easy for people in the team to forget that you need to add this description to a form field, etc. So what our app is doing is kind of keeping all of that on the back in the background, so it's consistently updating the site to better align it to the
Hmm.
WCAG guidelines.
Yeah, so in other words, a company that uses your app, the app can actually assist them in making sure that they are compliant with these regulations by scanning the site and offering tips about what to do, where, how to put the appropriate tags in, and so forth. Is that right?
Exactly, making sure that they are more compliant. So it's very challenging for any technical solution to make something 100% compliant, and this is where we always want to be honest about it because the accessibility standards it's an ongoing journey, but we've proven that we've been able to reduce the number of barriers on a site and make it more accessible by 98%, as
Wow.
well as adding positive accessibility features by 3.5 times what was already on the site when before they installed our app. And that doesn't just mean better compliance, it also actually means better SEO because search engines prefer more accessible sites.
Hmm. How interesting is that? So you're going to improve your SEO while you're improving the usability of your site, right?
Exactly that. And one of our clients also said that they saw a 46% conversion rate increase since installing our app, which was really exciting.
Really?
And yeah, and
40%
then
increase in conversion.
46%.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
impressive. Well,
And that's like you've got one in four customers with a disability and one in five. People don't necessarily realize quite how widespread this challenge is and the percentage of customers that they are locking out of their sites.
well, usability is huge, and people
Mm,
have very low patience when it comes to websites. We want things to work quickly, and if they don't work quickly, you get abandoned carts. Basically, people just
hmm.
walk away. They get frustrated, they get tired, they get distracted, whatever the case may be. So that's a very, very powerful statistic that you have a 46% increase in conversion. That would have most e-commerce web developers doing backflips, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then we've also, I think the utility of the tool is also some of my favorite stats are that in a luxury retail store, we've been seeing 1 to 2 customers a day using the sign language feature.
Wow.
We've also been seeing 5% of their website visitors on aggregate open the toolbar and use functionality on it. So it's really exciting. Some of the most common features are the reading out text, which is actually kind of universally useful to any customer that knows about it. The ability to change the colors and the contrast of the site is also very important to people.
Yeah, so the way it works is that if a site is using your technology, there's a control panel that shows up, and then the user can go through that control panel and either choose different functions, different features, including adjusting the layout of the page, right? How they actually experience the page, because that's one of the things that I've seen my wife have difficulty with is just navigating through all the menu bars. And even,
Hmm.
I mean, I'm an able-bodied person, and some of these menu bars are not designed properly to where you click the file menu, let's say, and you start scrolling down and it goes away. And you're like, ugh, hold on.
Yeah,
Try it again, scrolls down, goes away. So even for
yeah.
able-bodied people, there are functionality misses because they're using React on the front end maybe, and there's just a gap in the functionality for how that's supposed to work. So you're addressing all of those things, right?
Yes, exactly. And one of the ones I actually use the most is stop animations because sometimes you can hit a site and there's just so much moving content that you can't focus. So I quite regularly will use the stop animations feature.
Yeah. Well, like pop-ups. I mean, I remember when
Mm,
pop-ups were huge back in the early 2000s, and then there was all this effort to make them go away, and you get pop-up blockers and everything, and then they've come roaring back, and now there's pop-ups
yeah.
everywhere. And I'd tell the wife, Command W to close the window is one thing you can do, but even getting to the right keys can be problematic. Now, does it also
Mm,
take voice activation? Can you actually use your voice to navigate the site?
it's in plan
It's in the plan.
one
Okay.
day soon. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I can imagine. So this is very cool. So primarily for Shopify now, but you're looking at other e-commerce sites, and again, it would be a sort of add-on. But I think that the other really compelling part of your story here is it's not just helping people who are disabled, it's helping anyone who uses this site because how you navigate a site is pretty important for being able to use it and get what you want. And when people get what they want, customer service goes up, customer satisfaction goes up, the company gets better ratings, and to your point, you even get better SEO results, right?
Exactly. So there's a Forrester report that shows that for every $1 spent on accessibility, businesses can expect to see a $100 return, which is really, really big results.
Well, and it's like it shows that you care too, right? It
Hmm.
shows it's a sign
Yeah,
that you actually do care about your customers. You're not just in this for the money. It's not just transactional. You're trying to really make the web a better place and thus make the world a better place, right?
exactly, exactly.
So let's quickly get into how you got into all this. So what was your motivation to do this for a living?
So I previously had a startup that was doing customer experience within physical stores. So we were helping manage queues and appointment booking. And I actually was taking a bit of time out after that and then learn about this opportunity to come and join EnableAll as CEO and was really, really excited about the opportunity to make online more accessible because that's kind of the big trend you're seeing kind of 80% of retail sales move more and more online and really wanted to make a difference in that space and to have a bit of impact so it's having making a massive difference to people and we're finding the community really really engaged with the product and a big thing also is like there are other solutions out there but no one's really really nailed it and made it really successful yet so we think that there's a massive opportunity to do that, and we've been working very closely with the community to do it.
Hmm. That's very cool. And you mentioned WCAG, the standards. A lot of companies don't even know about these standards, and you're out there helping them. I mean, I didn't know that these standards exist, and to your point, they are complicated. But now you can use LLMs to better decipher all that stuff, right?
Yes, exactly. And I mean, since learning about the standards in more detail, I've become so enthused by it. Like you just see an accessibility everywhere. Like I'll be reading a book to my children and I'll see this wording on the page and I'm like, what does that actually? This is not accessible. And it's just really interesting to see how the odds can be so stacked against people with any challenges. So being having everyone understand it more would add a lot of value in the world.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I have to say, congratulations on your efforts. Folks, look this lovely lady up online, Imogen Wethered. It's Wethered. The company is called Enable All. They're helping make websites much more accessible. And like I say, it's not just for disabled people, it's for everyone because website accessibility is a huge conduit to conversions. It's a huge conduit to customer satisfaction, to getting people happy with what they want, and then they'll come back and they'll buy more stuff, or they'll come back and use your
Exactly.
site more often. Because if it's not accessible, people just don't like that. It's hard to tell, but they just don't come and they don't stay. So look this lady up online, Imogen Wethered from EnableAll. We'll talk to you next time you're listening to Inside Analysis.